Sianakade yanked the courier ship's yoke hard starboard, thrusters flaring blue against the debris-choked void. Alarms screamed as simulated pirate corvettes, Karzik raiders in disguise, locked weapons on her hull, their particle beams grazing the shields in precise taunting bursts. "Come on, you bastards," she muttered, eyes locked on the flickering distress beacon at the killzone's heart. A single Cathari escape pod, its royal crest pulsing like a dying star. Her fingers danced across the console, rerouting power from life support to forward deflectors. The ship groaned, inertial dampers straining as she threaded the needle between tumbling wreckage and incoming fire. Humans didn't pick fights without reason, but ignoring a legitimate hail from an exiled royal, that wasn't in her playbook. Not after hauling relief crates through a dozen war-torn systems. The pod loomed in her viewport, scarred and venting plasma. Siana matched velocity with a feather-touch burn, extending the docking clamp. "Princess Mara Vale, this is freelance convoy escort Cade. Permission to board?" A ragged voice crackled through the translator. "Granted. Quickly, the pirates are closing." Siana punched the airlock cycle, atmosphere equalized with a hiss, and the hatch irised open to reveal a Cathari female in tattered silks, her iridescent scales dulled by stress, multifaceted eyes wide. Myra stumbled aboard, clutching a data slate like a shield. "You, a human? Alone?" "Freelancer. Strap in, we're outbound." Sienna sealed the hatch and gunned the engines, weaving through a fresh salvo. The ship shuddered as a beam clipped the aft stabilizer, but she held course, multitasking sensor sweeps with evasion rolls. No fatigue nagged at her. 12 hours at the stick felt routine after endless convoy runs. Mayra collapsed into the co-pilot's seat, her breathing ragged through gill flaps. Why risk it? The Karzik Dominion staged this to erase me. Diplomatic asylum's a universal code. I'll file the petition now. Sienna's hands never slowed, composing the burst transmission one-handed, distress log, beacon data, witness vids of the raiders' Karzik's transponders. She pinged nearby Dominion patrols and Kethari consular outposts. Lawful channels first. Petition submitted. They'll have to process it. Myra's scales rippled in wary gratitude. My court. Cast me out. They'll call me criminal. Then we prove otherwise. Sienna glanced at her, reading the exhaustion in those trembling limbs. Cathari royalty prized precision over endurance. This one had held out hours longer than specs suggested. Respect flickered. Myra wasn't fragile cargo. Far across the sector, in the shadowed command blister of the Karzik battlecruiser Iron Grasp, High Marshal Varkan Sor watched the courier's escape on holoscreen. His armored crest plates clacked in irritation, mandibles clicking as aides stiffened. A human freighter snatching the Cathari pretender? Insulting. "Label her a criminal claimant," Varkun growled, his voice a gravel rasp through Vox grill. "No royal status. Quiet pursuit. Erase her legitimacy before she spreads lies." He waved a claw at the tactical overlay. Trade species like humans folded under pressure. A few civilian disruptions would lever them into compliance. Restraint was weakness, not strategy. His operations officer, a wiry subordinate with scarred plating, hesitated. "The human filed asylum petitions, Marshal. Dominion code binds. Code bends for expansion." Varkun's eyes narrowed, bioluminescent slits glowing. "Monitor their trade hub vectors. Probe if needed, but no open war." Yet, the order rippled out, silent as a closing trap. Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka crouched in the docking bay of Trade Hub Epsilon 7, his platoon fanned out in crisp formation. MA-7 carbines slung low, visors scanning the civilian crowds. Lavari merchants haggling data chips. Cathari envoys fluttering silks. ROE drilled into them. No escalation. Protect the asset. De-escalate. Sienna's courier nosed into the bay, clamps locking with a metallic thunk. The ramp dropped, and she emerged first, escorting a cloaked Cathari. Mara's eyes darted, but she moved with recovered poise. "Tanaka, security handoff," Sienna said. Voice steady, they'd served together on convoy runs. Jiro's quiet professionalism matched her own. He nodded, snapping a salute. "Princess." "Platoon, envelop formation, non-lethal ordnance only." His team fell in seamlessly, humans juggling perimeter scans, civi traffic control, and asset vitals without a word wasted. Jiro felt the familiar rhythm. 12-hour shifts blending into 24, no complaints. War games back home had forged that. Myra blinked at the escort. Such efficiency. Your rules bind you tightly? Keeps things lawful? Jiro replied, guiding her toward the secure shuttle. Commands processing your petition. We're bridged to there. A livery archivist, detached from the crowd. His elongated frame unfolding gracefully, tendrils clutching a recorder orb. I am Talon Rowe, neutral observer from the Livery Concord. Permission to join? This exemplifies human soft power. Escorts without conquest. Jiro eyed him. Slender build, no weapons, scholarly air. Clear it with Sienna. We're not a tour. Sienna waved approval. Palin's legit. Docks the fringes. Could help your case, princess. Myra inclined her head. Scales shimmering curiosity. Observe then. Truth needs witnesses. The convoy lifted. Jiro's shuttle at core, Sienna's courier flanking. Civilian haulers padding the formation. Tanaka monitored feeds from his TAC pad. Multitasking drone relays and ROE confirmations. Humans adapted fast, learning Cathari evasion pings mid-flight, syncing with hub traffic without glitch. Talon Rowe settled into an observer nook, his orb humming as it captured every angle. Humans in their restraint. Amusing primitives, playing diplomat in a predator's galaxy. No military depth here, just traders with guns. He'd file it as such. Minor curiosity. Varkun's probe came unannounced. Auspex pinged a Dominion raider ghosting the perimeter, energy spikes probing shields, not firing, testing, contact, bearing 240, Jiro called commas drill. Raider class. ROE. Warn and disengage. His gunner locked warnings, broadcasting on open channels. Dominion vessel, this is human trade security. Protected convoy under asylum transit. Clear our vector or face interference. The raider feinted closer, beam turrets swiveling. Jiro's platoon braced, but he held fire. Planners had gamed this. Destruction escalated. Restraint signaled strength. Sienna rolled her courier into intercept. Broadcasting petition receipts. Back off. Lawful passage. Talon's tendrils twitched, orb whirring faster. Why not vaporize the threat? Cathari would have. Karzik certainly. Yet the humans peeled away precisely. Shields firm, formation intact. No pursuit, no rage, just control. Mara gripped her armrest, multifaceted eyes tracking the raider's retreat. You let it live. After hunting me? Jiro met her gaze via internal feed. Killing probes war. We escort peace until it's broken. His voice carried no boast, just fact, honed by patrols where restraint saved more lives than triggers. The raider vanished into the black, data harvested. Varkun Sor reviewed the feed in his blister, crest rattling frustration. Humans disengaged, perfect. Leverage confirmed. Pressure their civilians. Break the convoy's spine. The pretender would vanish, and trade would kneel. But Talon Rowe leaned back, tendrils coiling thoughtfully. Soft power? Or something deeper? He'd research human histories tonight, patterns emerging. Sienna throttled back toward the hub. Fatigue a distant hum. Mara's presence beside her felt like the start of something fragile. Necessary. Jiro's platoon held steady, bonds unspoken but iron. The galaxy watched, mistaking patience for frailty. In the void, Karzik hunters tightened the noose. Princess Mara Vale straightened her exile's cloak in the dim glow of the human mediator's comm chamber, her forearms folding precisely as she activated the holographic link to her royal court. Esteemed arbiters of the Cathari Concord, she intoned, voice steady despite the tremor in her secondary hands. I present irrefutable logs of the purge, poisoned chalices, falsified oaths, my bloodline's executioners unmasked. Grant me arbitration under the Veil Accords, restore legitimacy through truth, not blades. The court's elder council flickered into view, their multifaceted eyes narrowing behind veils of spun crystal. Arbiter Lirith's mandibles clicked dismissively. Exile's plea from a human freighter? Surrender to Dominion custody first, pretender. Your flight stains the throne. Mara's primary heart thudded. Proof dossiers hovered unopened, but she held her gaze, knowing one flinch would end it. The link severed without concession, leaving only static and the mediator's quiet sympathy. High Marshal Varkan Sor watched the appeals farce from his flagship's Tacticon, a low growl rumbling in his chest vents as Cathari chatter flooded intercepts. Predictable cowardice, he muttered to his aides. claws tapping the quarantine order already beaming to border patrols. Humans harbor the pretender. Test their compliance now. Impose full customs hold on all shipping within 5 light minutes of Cathari space. No vessel passes without boarding and extraction of the Veil female. Broadcast it wide. Peaceful traders will kneel or starve. His operations chief, a hulking Karzik with scarred plating, saluted. Quarantine framed as routine, Marshal? They won't fire first. SAR's optics gleamed. Exactly. Restraint is their chain. When they yield, Meera, the Cathari court fractures further. Our coalition tightens. Probes launched in synchronized swarms. Karzik hunter packs fanning out to enforce the noose. Freighters already pinging frantic queries. Sienna Kade gripped the convoy bridge rail as alerts blared across her console. Juggling hollow maps, trade manifests, and the incoming Karzik demand, her co-pilot blinked fatigue from 4 hours straight. But Sienna waved him off. Another shift wouldn't break her. Patch me to the Dominion lead, she said calmly, fingers flying to cross-reference neutral shipping lanes while cueing diplomatic protocols. Meera hovered nearby, her exile's tension palpable. But Sienna met her eyes first. We've got options. Transparency buys time. The Karzik captain's faceplate filled the screen, voice a metallic rasp through translators. Surrender the pretender, or face seizure. All holds impounded. Sienna nodded, projecting calm she'd honed hauling relief through blockades. Understood, Captain. Propose compromise. Escorted inspections. Human observers aboard your borders. Full manifests pre-shared. Civilians keep moving. Grain for Cathari neutrals. Meds for your outposts. No need for blockades when logs prove clean. She multitasked seamlessly, patching live feeds of cargo bays, anticipating objections before they formed. The captain hesitated, vents hissing. Humans never bargained this fluidly, then grunted assent. Accepted. First convoy in one cycle. Sienna exhaled, already plotting evac routes if it soured. Meera's secondary hands unclenched slightly. You. Weave words like a courtier. Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka braced in the dim red lighting of the freighter's auxiliary bay, his platoon arrayed in non-lethal kit. Stun batons, restraint foam, zero-G grapples. Form up staggered, eyes on vents, he murmured over squad net. Voice level as mag boots locked. Dominion Marines were inbound. Inspection turning drill into reality. Private Reyes multitasked scans and vitals readout beside him, unflinching after 12-hour sims. They're packing heat, LT. Row holds? Jiro nodded, pattern matching the Karzik approach from intel feeds. Aggressive feints. Herd tactics. De-escalate first. Borders twitch wrong. Foam 'em. Clangers echoed as airlock cycled. Karzik Marines and powered exos piling through, pulse rifles sweeping. Hands high, traitors. Pretender location, their sergeant bellowed. Jiro stepped forward, palms open, reading the pack's tension and flared nostrils and claw flexes. Lieutenant Tanaka, UN Escort Service. Manifests here. He tossed a secure pad. Multitasking baton grip and flank coverage. A Marine lunged for a crate. Reyes foam burst at mid-stride, gluing boots to deck without a shot. Chaos rippled, but Jiro's voice cut through. We're complying. Check the logs. No heroes today. The sergeant snarled, optics whirring in confusion. Humans shouldn't pivot this smooth, but waved scans. Clean. They withdrew fuming, Jiro's platoon none the worse, bonds tightening in the shared grind. Talon Rowe's recording drone hummed softly in the freighter's observer nook, his levery tendrils coiling as he archived the boarding. Karzik shoves barked demands countered by human precision. Restraints deployed like clockwork, no fatalities, voices steady amid the scrum. Fascinating, he murmured. Bioloon tips pulsing azure surprise. He'd logged a dozen inspections. Aliens panicked. Karzik dominated. Humans? They read the room, adapted protocols on the fly. Cross-referencing his neutral database, Talon drafted a dispatch. Dominion quarantine employs intimidation boarding. Human responders maintain de-escalation via observer-inclusive compromise. Recommend galactic shipping advisory. Compliance yields passage. He transmitted via secure relay, mandibles clicking satisfaction. Views spiked briefly on fringe nets, but core channels dismissed it. Karzik allies shrugged. Traders grumbled overload. Talon filed deeper notes. Humans emotional red on Karzik pride. turning bluster to standoff. Not weakness. Calculation. His archive pinged a research query from a Cathari analyst. Human resilience metrics? He smiled faintly. The galaxy was starting to ask. Aboard the flagship, Varkonsor's Tacticon flared with inspection reports. Empty holds. Compliant humans. No pretender seized. His vents boiled. They mock us with transparency, he snarled to aides, claws gouging the console. Miera's appeal lingered in intercepts. Humans as mediators now? The quarantine dragged, trade trickling under scrutiny, but resolve hardened his strategic core. Enough theater. Authorized strike on Habitat Epsilon. 7. Civilian ring, maximal exposure, executions broadcast live, frame as quarantine breach. Break their negotiations. Force total submission. Peaceful traders will beg for terms. The strike order cascaded. Hunter packs vectoring on the spinning habitat. A neutral hub packed with human families, dock workers, refugees. Sor envisioned the feeds. Screams shattered domes. Humans crumbling as Miera's value plummeted. His coalition would cheer. Cathari courts solidify. Yet a flickered doubt gnawed Doe's boardings too controlled. He crushed it. Terror snapped chains. Sienna's convoy cleared the cordon, freighters slipping past patrols under the brokered watch. Miera stood beside her on the bridge, primary eyes on the scopes. Your compromise held, but sore tightens elsewhere. Sienna nodded, rubbing her neck after 18 hours upright. No complaint. Habitat chatters spiking. Jiro's platoons are rerouting evacuation support. Pattern clicked. Quarantine too neat. Inspections too tolerated. This isn't about customs. It's bait. Jiro's squad prepped fresh drills in Epsilon. 7's lower docks hauling barricades while chatting with Levery observers like Talon, who shared scans over ration packs. Your de-escalation, unprecedented, Talon admitted, tendrils gesturing. Jiro shrugged, humble as ever. Just work. Seen worse hauling civs out of storms. Reyes laughed, bonding over bad jokes translating oddly across species. Resilience knit them tighter. In the void, Karzik hunters tightened the noose. Strike payloads arming silent. Sor's gambit crested. The stage set for blood to paint peaceful traders into kneelers. Explosions bloomed across the habitat ring like venom sacs bursting. Karzik strike payloads shredding the colony's spine in synchronized fury. Sienna Cady gripped the shuttle's harness as the shockwave hurled their evac bird into a spin, hull groaning under the debris storm. Jiro. Vector us in. Port side breach. That's our window. She barked, eyes locked on the tactical overlay, fingers already plotting insertion burns while her co-pilot triaged failing life support. Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka nodded once, his platoon crammed into the hold behind them. Mag locked and silent, no chatter, just the grind of servos as he wrestled the controls, threading through a blizzard of hull fragments that pinged off their shields like hail on tin. The broadcast hit their comms mid-maneuver. Sor's voice, gravelly Karzik triumph. Traders of Sol, behold your future. Yield the air, or every ring fractures like this. Grainy feed showed evacuees herded into airlocks. Karzik troopers executing them point blank. Children among them crumpling without a sound before the structure vented them into the black. Sienna's jaw clenched, but her voice stayed level. Focus on survivors. Blue 3, your breach team. Cut through that secondary lock. The shuttle slammed into position against a buckled spar, mag clamps biting deep. Jiro slapped the ramp release, and his squad poured out, exosuits humming as they burned through wreckage with plasma torches. Sienna followed, carbine hot, Miera Vale at her flank, the exiled Cathari princess clutching a data slate, her iridescent scales dulled by recycled air. Debris fields turned the rescue into a grinder. Jiro's lead fire team took the first hit. Karzik boarders repelling from a hunter drone, bolters chewing through armor. Contact, 12 o'clock, a trooper yelled, returning fire in controlled bursts. Sienna dropped to a knee, sighting her rifle through the chaos, picking off a drone gunner while simultaneously relaying survivor pings to Jiro. Civvies trapped in Hab 7, vitals fading, bypass the kill box, her mind split the load. Scan for hostiles, mark extraction paths, monitor Myra's breathing. Cathari lungs struggled in human atmo mixes. Jiro multitasked like it was breath, directing suppressing fire while improvising a breaching charge from scavenged det packs. Cade, cover left. Tanaka actual pushing. They cleared the corridor in a haze of cordite and venting Admo, pulling 30 survivors into the shuttle. Medics patching wounds mid-haul, kids wide-eyed and silent, but the cost mounted. 2 of Jiro's men down, suits holed and frozen solid, another limping with a shattered femur. Sienna hauled a sobbing engineer aboard herself, ignoring the gash across her ribs that soaked her vac suit. No complaints, just the job. Back aboard the rally point. The battered UN frigate, Endurance, Myra hunched over the salvaged Karzik transponder, her 4-fingered hands flying across the interface. Sienna leaned in, bloodied glove on her shoulder, while Jiro oversaw casualty triage in the bay. Talon Rowe, the Leverai archivist, hovered nearby, his elongated frame recording every gasp and curse, sensor orbs whirring. "These signatures," Myra said, voice a hiss of controlled grief. "3rd Lance Legion, under Submarshal Krell. Reports direct to SARS theater staff. Encrypted logs confirm it." He ordered the broadcast, the purge. No proxies. Her golden eyes met Sienna's, a flicker of shared steel. Cathari courts had cast her out for weakness, but here, amid human grit, she traced the atrocity's spine with precision born of Royal Archives. Sienna nodded, uploading the data burst to Fleet Command. No rage in her gut, just a cold settling, like frost on a blade. Jiro joined them, wiping blood from his visor. Lost Harris and Ruiz. But we got proof. Around them, his platoon worked without pause, reloading mags, patching hulls, joking dryly with survivors to steady nerves. Endurance, the quiet kind that outlasted storms. High orbit, Admiral Lena Voss watched the feeds in Vanguard's CIC, face carved from granite. The council link chimed, Sol's elected reps, faces grim from Earthside. "Casualties confirmed. 400 civilians, broadcast galaxy-wide," Voss reported. A pause, then the authorization dropped. Total war declaration casus belli etched in the murdered innocents' names. No mercy clauses, but rules locked tight. Target command nodes. Spare the coerced. "Execute Cascade Protocol," Voss ordered. "Humans stop asking. We end it." Sienna felt the shift ripple through the frigate's decks as orders cascaded. Jiro's platoon reloaded without a word, faces set in that professional mask hiding the ache. Myra straightened, scales shimmering faintly. Respect dawning in her posture. "You do not rage," she murmured to Sienna. "You build." Talon Rowe, his levery calm fracturing, activated his core archive. Event logged, Karzik Dominion war crime, Habitat Epsilon, 2, 9. Visuals, biometrics, chain of command traces appended. His transmission beamed to neutral nexus points. Levari enclaves, Cathari dissidents, trade guilds. Panic bloomed in replies. Escalation vectors critical, Sol forces mobilizing en masse. Talon's orbs dimmed. He'd come to record a skirmish, not witness traitors forge a spear from sorrow. Aboard the Karzik battlecruiser Iron Fang, High Marshal Varkan Sor reviewed the strike telemetry, his ridged crest flat with satisfaction. The humans' shuttle dart, impressive, pulling survivors from the wreck, but symbolic. Traitors always blinked first. "Monitor their thrust signatures," he growled to his staff. "They will strike outpost, vent frustration, then sue for terms. Dispatch hunter wings to shadow. Break their will without shattering the board." His aides nodded, mandibles clicking agreement. Human restraint was legend, endless petitions, relief runs even under fire. This, a spasm. Sar leaned back, plotting the next pressure point. Seize the air's convoy, peace through terror, the Dominion way. No need for total commitment. These soft skins bartered lives like cargo. Sienna caught Jiro's eye across the bay as Endurance aligned for jump. His nod was all it needed. Pack bond, forged in evac grinds and shared losses. Mayra slotted beside them, slate linked to human tack nets, her insights weaving into their patterns. Talon trailed, archive humming, already querying soul databases on human psychological thresholds. The frigate's engines thrummed, plotting vectors not to parley, but to hunt. Deeper in-system, Vanguard coordinated the cascade, carrier wings unfolding from shadow docks, infantry lifts burning hot from colony vaults, drone swarms patterning from asteroid forges. No broadcasts, no ultimatums, just quiet mobilization, The kind that turned peaceful traders into a galaxy's reckoning. Sienna checked her harness, ribs throbbing but steady. The war had teeth now, filed by innocents' blood. They'd enforce peace the hard way, Jiro murmured to his squad. Tight ROE's hold. We take SAR's head clean. They racked slides in unison, a rhythm of resolve. Myara watched, her dismissal of these endurant mammals cracking. Humans juggled grief and geometry without falter, adapting her data into strikes aliens would rope march. Talon noted it all, his neutral logs tilting toward awe. Sol's response wasn't fury, but inexorable momentum. SOAR's hunters ghosted ahead, blind to the noose inverting. Humanity planned, not pleaded. The board flipped. Sianakade wiped sweat from her brow, fingers dancing across 3 consoles at once. Decrypting Karzik fuel manifests on the left, cross-referencing comm pings on the center, and plotting command node vectors on the right. The Naval Intelligence Bay thrummed with the low growl of awakening reactors, hidden shipyards in the asteroid belts spitting out reserve fleets like hornets from a kicked nest. Logistics confirms. Corridors rerouted. She muttered into her headset. Trade lanes are arteries now. Fuel depots marked. 3 high value in the outer rim. Admiral Reyes nodded from the command perch, his voice steady over the chatter. Good work, Kade. Your intercepts just lit up their blind spots. Unified commands green across the board, fleets mobilizing without a ripple on their scopes. Sienna didn't look up, her mind already juggling the next layer. Dominion EW patterns from yesterday's ghosts, layered against human drone swarms. She'd pulled 18-hour shifts since the massacres. No complaints. Just black coffee and the grim math of payback without panic. Humans built for this. Steady grind turning whispers into thunder. Across the sector, in a dust-choked training ground on Epsilon Relay, Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka barked orders as his platoon synced with aerospace wings. Armor, hold fire line at 2-click buffer. Drones, pattern alpha, civilians first. Always. A Karzik-style hover tank rumbled forward. Its crew, humans mixed with levery techs, firing sim rounds while Jiro's infantry leapfrogged beside drone artillery batteries. One soldier, Ramirez, patched a glitch mid-march, rerouting power from treads to sensors without breaking stride. Jiro clocked it all, his own HUD multitasking fire support calls, squad vitals, and ROE overlays. They'd lost good people in the early evac hits. No rage now, just the cold drill of combined arms that turned meat grinders into scalpels. Platoon! Reset, Jiro called, wiping gravel from his visor. A levery liaison. Corporal Vex tilted his elongated head, frills flickering in confusion. Humans, you integrate assets without fatigue protocols? Our manuals demand rotations, Jiro shrugged, helping a winded alien gunner to his feet. We adapt. Keeps us sharp. Vex's eyes widened fractionally. Another note for his report. Jiro's unit wasn't superhuman. They just pushed through the ache, bonding over shared drills, turning strangers into a pack. Princess Mayara Vale stood before the hollow broadcast array in the provisional Cathari embassy, her iridescent scales dulled by the weight of exile. Her claw hesitated over the pledge tablet, the words searing, I renounce vengeance. Dominion criminals will face lawful prosecution under galactic codes, no exceptions. Anti-Dominion factions watched via link, their murmurs a storm. Signing meant risking it all. Her legitimacy hung by the thinnest legitimacy thread, forged in Sienna's rescue and the human stand. But mercy was her house's creed, even if it branded her weak. I sign, Myra declared, her voice cutting the feed like crystal. The seal locked with a chime. Immediate backlash flooded the channels. Traitor to the purged, but a few faction leads paused, their bioluminescence steadying. Talon Rowe, the Levery archivist shadowing her, scribbled furiously in his neutral observer log. Your risk. Unprecedented for royals. Humans inspired this? Myra met his gaze, her multifaceted eyes softening. They showed me strength without savagery. We learn, or we repeat the purges. Talon nodded slowly, his tendrils twitching. Humans' restraint wasn't frailty. It was a weapon he'd underestimated. Sienna's maps proved gold. Hours later, Strike Group Theta, cruisers, dropships, and Jiro's advance elements, ghosted into the Dominion forward depot at Nexus. 7. Time pressure crushed them. Intel pegged a fuel convoy inbound in 20 mics. Captain Hale, Theta's lead, vectored from Sienna's node plot. All units, precision lock. Minimal collateral. Drones suppress AA. Infantry breach vaults. Armor covers evac if civs ping. Jiro's platoon hit dirt first. Boots pounding regolith under drone cover. Flank left. Eyes on non-coms. A Dominion patrol stumbled out. Claws raised. Jiro's team zipped him with stunners, multitasking breaching charges while scanning for traps. Ramirez jury-rigged a Dominion crane into a lift for the fuel cells, grinning through his breather. Improvised hoist. Beats hauling by hand. Adaptability pure. No heavy gear needed. Just pattern spotting from old colony rigs. Aerospace hammered the convoy as it crested the horizon. Lasers carving hulls without scatter. Depot secured in 14 minutes. Fuel siphoned. 0 civilian hits. Talon Rowe, embedded with observers, captured it all from a shuttle perch. His recorder word, humans capture intact under fire. Novel breach tactics unknown to Lavari archives. Dominion guards routed by calm multitasking? A Cathari neutralist beside him hissed awe. They treat war like a checklist. No frenzy. High Marshal Varkunsor slammed his fist on the strategium, the impact cracking a display pane. Nexus. 7 winked offline. Another depot gutted. Scorched earth now. Raid their border colonies. Burn mobilization hubs. Scatter the traitors. His staff saluted, claws clicking, but doubt rippled their hides. Soar's misread burned. Human silence post-atrocity? Not fear. Calculation. He'd escalated to break them. Instead, fractures spidered his coalition. Cathari defectors whispered of Mera's pledge. Lavari neutrals pulled funding. His raiders launched. 6 corvettes. Talons out for Epsilon fringe worlds. They dove into trade corridors turned killboxes. Human EW bloomed first, jamming arrays ghosting the Karzik hunters blind. Reserve pickets, those merchant tubs, unleashed layered defenses. Drones swarming like midges, carriers uncoiling fighters from hidden bays. SAR watched feeds glitch. 1 corvette shredded by precision missiles, another boarded by Jiro-style boarders who'd multitasked from patrol to assault. Pull back! SAR roared, but losses mounted. 4 ships slagged, 2 limping. Human logistics arteries pumped reinforcements without pause. Endurance mocking Karzik fatigue limits. Varkun's spines flattened in fury. Controlled but cracking, they were never unarmed. Restrained, Talon Rowe's final dispatch beamed galaxy-wide from the captured depot, his voice steady amid the cooling wrecks. Observers confirm, humanity activates reserves from concealed yards, integrates arms seamlessly, captures with surgical adaptation. Dominion raids repulsed by defenses once dismissed as trade fluff. Beads looped Sienna's intercepts feeding Jiro's strikes. Mera's pledge echoing restraint. Alien analysts scrambled Blivery archives querying human endurance thresholds. Cathari factions polling Mera's stand. Sienna leaned back in intel bay, finally exhaling as the holomap stabilized. Jiro pinged her private line. Depot. Ours. Your map saved asses. She smiled faintly, replying, team effort. Stay frosty. Mera's message followed. Pledge holds. Your example. Across the void, the galaxy blinked. Humans planned, endured, adapted, not pleading. The noose tightened, professional and unyielding. Varkun stared at the strategium. The board flipped indeed. His coalition frayed. Human depth yawned like an abyss. Talon sealed his log. Peaceful traders? No, restrained guardians. The realization spread. Humanity's normal was the stars' reckoning. Varkunsor slammed his talon against the strategium console, the holographic relays flickering under the impact. Reroute the 3rd Fleet to Gate Epsilon, now. His voice cracked through the Karzik command deck, but the officers hesitated, their crests flattening in doubt. The humans weren't charging, they were ghosts, slicing supply lines from the rear. Across the void, in the dim-lit belly of the UN frigate Endurance, Sienna Kade hunched over her jury-rigged console, fingers flying across dual interfaces. Sweat beaded her brow as she spoofed another Dominion packet, her voice steady into the comm. Ghost 3 confirming, tanker convoy misdirected to Sector 9. They'll burn dry before they sniff us. Beside her, a Cathari tech, fresh defector, hands trembling, mirrored her inputs on the alien syntax board. Sienna glanced over, nodding once. You're getting it. Layer the encryption like this. See the echo? The tech's frills perked, a flicker of awe crossing its face as the false orders propagated. Human command had greenlit the deep strike weeks ago. No fanfare, just cold calculus. Isolate Soars Theater. Relay gates winked out one by one, human corvettes darting in with precision nukes, severing the Dominion's neural net. Tanker routes crumbled under drone swarms that Sienna's team had reprogrammed mid-flight, turning fuel haulers into floating tombs. Repair yards at Nexus Prime burned silent, skeletal hulks venting atmosphere as human saboteurs, slipped past defenses with improvised grapples and zero torches. Sienna rubbed her eyes, the third shift blurring into four. Multitasking came natural. One screen tracked spoofed traffic, another parsed alien chatter for patterns, a third coordinated with Jiro's ground teams. "We've got a friendly fire window opening on their flank relay," she murmured to the defector. "Bounce this ident code. Make it look like they're on patrol." The Cathari complied, mandibles clicking in rhythm. "Humans, you weave deception like nest silk. Our probes take cycles for half this." She shrugged, humble as ever. "Just connecting dots. Your syntax gives it teeth." The first misrouted reinforcements slammed into their own pickets minutes later, plasma blooms lighting the scans. Dominion screams filled the channels. Betrayal from within, or so they thought. On the surface of Viridia Prime, Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka waved his platoon forward through the choking dust. Loss rifle barking control bursts. "Delta, cover the civvies. Echo, suppress that ridge." Refugees streamed behind. Livari merchants, Cathari families, even a few Karzik stragglers, 2,000 souls clogging the neutral corridor. Dominion raiders harried from the heights, bolts chewing earth, but Jiro's unit held, adapting on the fly. He'd lost 2 already today. Ramirez vaporized shielding a kid, Patel gutshot but still hauling a litter. No rage, just grim focus. Flank left, use the Rex for cover. His troops multitasked seamlessly, firing, dragging, wounded, calling medevac while herding noncoms. Jiro spotted the pattern in enemy fire, predictable lulls every 90 seconds for reloads. "On my mark! 30 seconds!" They surged, endurance kicking in where Dominion grunts faltered, their exosuits overheating after hours. A Livari elder clutched Jiro's arm, eyes wide. "You fight for us, not your war?" Jiro hefted the man over a crater, grunting. "War's for everyone breathing. Keep moving." The platoon chewed through the raiders, securing the corridor's midpoint. Casualties mounted. 6 down now, but the refugees poured through, Jiro's voice the anchor amid chaos. Talon Rowe, the Livari archivist, trailed Jiro's rear guard, his recorder drone humming softly. He'd seen Dominion terror doctrine firsthand. Orbitals glassing Habs, no quarter. But here? Humans triaged Karzik POWs mid-firefight, zip-tying them with med patches applied. "Why treat them?" Talon asked a Corpsman stylus, pausing. The human wiped blood, his own, from a gash. "They're done shooting. Means they're people again." Talon logged it, mandibles agape. Humans restrained fire even under barrage, ROE holding like alloy. No terror reprisals, just precision. He beamed the feed to neutral councils. Contrast stark. Dominion votes wavered. Whispers of restrained guardians echoed in diplomatic nets. Talon's own notes swelled. "They endure what breaks us. Pattern. Mercy as strategy." Deeper in orbit, Princess Myra Vale faced a holographic conclave of Cathari defectors, her exile scars hidden under poised resolve. "Safe Harbor Protocol. Article 17, she declared, voice cutting through static. "Bind to UN terms. No reprisals. Auxiliary roles only." The defectors' frills quivered, former loyalists to her usurper aunt. Now adrift. One elder hissed. "We betrayed Dominion for you? Humans will cull us." Myra leaned in, reading the subtext. Fear masked pride. "They won't. Witness their corridors. Your kin walk free under their guns." She wove emotional threads, her arc from cast out to bridge honed sharp. Flaw nagged. Her own court's purge haunted choices, but she pushed mutual gain. Evac support. Translation for their ops. In return, legitimacy for your return. Grudging nods rippled. The first shipload pledged. Cathari linguist spoofing with Sienna. Scouts guiding Jiro. Mara exhaled, a defector's claw clasping hers. Tentative bond. "You read us like open scrolls, Princess. Humans, they listen first." SOAR's command deck reeked of scorched circuits, reports piling like wreckage. Relays gone, tankers dry, yards ash, reinforcements misdirected into voids or each other's guns. Friendly fire claiming 3 cruisers, his coalition cracked, Cathari auxiliaries vanishing into human folds. Varkun's crest deflated, miscalculation bitter, humans lacked will for attrition, he'd bet. Restraint was weakness. Concentrate all assets, he growled, plotting the hammer. Fleet engagement at coreward jump, draw them in, shatter their line. Officers saluted, but doubt lingered. Scouts reported human endurance, shifts unending, repairs mid-battle. SAR ignored it, terror doctrine his crutch. But logs from captured Lavari, Talon's ilk, whispered truth. Humans didn't glorify kills, they dismantled wars. Sienna's console pinged victory. Final yard severed, Dominion logistics collapsing. She stretched, sharing a ration bar with the Cathari tech. Good work. They'll fold without fuel to fight. The alien's eyes gleamed. Your kind. Juggle stars while we blink. How? Practice, Sienna said simply. Humble fatigue in her bones. Jiro's corridor cleared, refugees safe. Talon's docks swayed 3 neutrals. Myra's defectors streamed aid. SOAR's bet loomed, but humans pressed no battle. They starved the beast. In the Strategium's glow, Varkun watched tankers drift lifeless, gates dark. Abyss indeed. Talon, light years away, updated his archive. Not traitors. Architects of endings. Neutrals leaned. Human value undeniable. Collaboration bloomed. Cathari voices in human nets. Lavari eyes witnessing restraint. Jiro crested the ridge. Platoon leaner but unbroken. Refugees waving thanks. Push to extract, he ordered. Voice steady. Cost tallied. Lives not glory. But corridor held. Sienna spoofed one last feint, buying Jiro hours. Myra sealed pacts. Her bridge firm. SOAR massed his fleet. Delusion his armor. Humans watched, patient. No chase, just collapse. Word count 1487. High Marshal Varkun SOAR watched the holographic feed with unblinking eyes. His ridged jaw set as the Karzik strike corvette slipped through the neutral station's outer buoys. Initiate, he growled into the comms. The false flag was flawless. Human-marked drones, loaded with plasma warheads painted in UN navy blue. Let the galaxy see the peaceful humans butcher Lavari civilians. It would splinter their ragtag coalition, paint Mira's rescuers as monsters, and buy him breathing room to regroup the Dominion flanks. Alarms shrieked across Station Epsilon. Alarm, as the first drone swarm breached the docking ring. Talon Rowe clutched his archival slate, ink vines pulsing with shock across his azure skin, his bulkheads buckled. Shards of hull metal rained down, pinning a cluster of Levari traders mid-evac. This is no raid, he muttered. Scanner whirring. Timestamps didn't match. Dominion vectors masked as human thrust signatures, but the acceleration curve screamed Karzik overdrive. He patched through to the human liaison ship, fingers trembling. Sienna Cade. It's Rowe. False flag. Get your proof before they spin it. Sienna gripped the shuttle's crash straps as inertial dampers whined. Her mind racing through the telemetry dump Talon beamed over. Patterns leaped out. Warp echoes mismatched human FTL profiles by 17%. Archived station logs confirming Dominion probe pings 2 hours prior. Got it, she said. Voice steady despite the knot in her gut. Civilians were dying while bureaucrats dithered. Lavari Council already howling for human expulsion. She forwarded the intercepts to Fleet Command, then looped in Mara. Delay would cost lives. But truth was their only weapon. Talon cross-referenced the drone serials against black market manifests. Karzik fab shops leave residue signatures. They worked in tandem across the tight beam. Sienna multitasking flight corrections while slicing Dominion encryptions, human fingers flying over alien interfaces faster than any Cathari she'd trained with. Talon's vines flushed deeper blue, a Levari flush of awe. You. Connect these disparate threads like it's breathing. Our analysts take cycles for this. By the time the exposure packet hit galactic nets, 32 Lavari dead, human political capital hemorrhaging as fringe worlds recalled envoys, but the fabrication cracked open. Holoreplays showed the drone's true origin. SOAR's ploy laid bare. Captain Ellis's voice cut through the UN battlenet. PsyOps live in 5. Sienna, your input sealed it. Human broadcasts flooded Dominion channels. Calm, relentless. Sienna monitored from the liaison bridge, her voice layered into the feed. Karzik forces, safe corridors open at coordinates Alpha 9. Surrender now. Face tribunal justice. No executions. No reprisals. Your commanders answer for Epsilon. The words hammered home accountability, not vengeance. Defection spiked. A Dominion frigate peeled off, crew citing Soar's lies in their hail. Sienna exhaled, rubbing her temples. Ordinary protocol to her, just keeping the moral high ground while grinding their will. Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka's platoon hit the dirt on Valtrex Prime's shattered tundra, frost biting through exosuits as the comm spire loomed, a kilometer-high fang of Dominion alloy, bristling with auto-turrets. Intel said light garrison. Reality was a hornet's nest, reinforced bunkers popping up mid-drop. Adapt! Jiro barked, voice gravel over squadnet. Foxtrot team flank and EMP the secondary guns. Golf. Shield the Civievac, keep those refugees behind the ridge. His Marines moved like a single organism, humans enduring the -40 gale without a whimper where Cathari allies would have cycled out. Plasma lanced down as they breached the base layer. Jiro multitasked, directing drone overwatch, patching wounds via remote medpods, reading enemy fire patterns to predict ambushes. A turret shredded Private Reyes, her screen cut short. Jiro pivoted, improvising a breaching charge from scavenged Dominion cells. Push! Civs first! They cleared the spire in 90 minutes, casualties at 20%. 6 down, but the evac corridor held. 2,000 souls funneled out under fire. Jiro slumped against a console, breath fogging his visor, as Maera's face flickered on the captured terminal. Your restraint saved more than you lost, Lieutenant. The galaxy sees it. Aboard the Cathari Exile flagship, Princess Maera Vale stared down a cluster of human admirals and alien envoys, her iridescent scales dimmed by fatigue. Carpet strikes on Dominion agri-worlds, one admiral proposed, eyes hard. End this now. Maera's tail lashed once, controlled. No, we've proof of their crimes. Tribunal first. Indiscriminate fire makes us them. Her flaw gnawed. The purge that exiled her taught mercy's peril, yet she clung to law, moral anchor amid the storm. Sienna nodded from the hololink, her quiet support bridging the tension. Maera's right. We break their machines surgically, target command nodes, offer terms per broadcast. The admirals grumbled but yielded, Maera's framework locked in. No reprisals, war crimes docket open. It hardened their edge, defections doubling as Karzik troops glimpsed a future without SARS terror. Talon, archiving the session, leaned in. Your species endures debate in crisis. My people fracture under such pressure. Maera met his gaze. Humans taught me that. We learned together. Soar's command citadel shuddered under orbital intercepts, his coalition fraying. 2 legions mutinied, citing the broadcasts. He activated the back channel. Encrypted burst to the human flagship. Immunity for my staff. Return the pretender veil. Ceasefire terms. The reply came swift, Sienna's voice threading through. Negotiations when your war machines scrap, Marshal. Tribunals wait. No deals till innocents are safe. Soar's claws dug into his armrest, fury boiling. Humans turned his gambit, morality as shield, proof as blade, against him. Probes confirmed. Defections at 15%. Spire losses crippling comms. Their restraint wasn't weakness. It was pressure, inexorable. Jiro's platoon hunkered in the spire's ruins, med drones humming over the wounded. He patched a field report, fingers numb but steady, while sharing ration packs with Cathari embeds. 1, Sergeant Lyra, vented scales flushing admiration. Your warriors fight gale and grief without pause. We thought humans fragile traitors. Jiro shrugged, humble as ever. Just doing the job. Your shield tech saved half my squad up top. Mutual nods sealed it. Friendship forged in frost and fire. Sienna synced the latest intel with Talon, their partnership a quiet engine. Pattern holds, SARS pulling reserves to core worlds. We hit there next. Talon's vines pulsed warm gold. Livari respect. Impossible adaptability. You've rewritten our archives on your kind. She smiled faintly, unaware of the wonder rippling outward. Cost tallied high. Lives trust eroded then rebuilt, but momentum shifted. Dominion fractured. Humans proving ethics could crush empires. Myra watched the hollow maps evolve, her arc bending toward hope. She'd refused the rage her court once embraced. Now, with Sienna's bridge and Jiro's steel, legitimacy stirred. SAR's ploy boomeranged, broadcasts echoing her tribunal call. The galaxy leaned in, witnessing humans wield proof and pressure not as desperation, but disciplined force. War's toll mounted, yet their controlled fury promised an end, peace enforced, not abandoned. Sienna Cade gripped the edge of the tactical console as the first cyberspikes lanced into Karzik Prime's command ring. Alarms wailed across the UN frigate's bridge, but her voice cut through, steady and precise. Confirm shutdown on Sectors 7 through 12, blockade wings tighten the geometry. 80% overlap, no gaps for runner drones. The hollow display bloomed with data streams, red Karzik nodes flickering to black as human codeworms burrowed deep, silencing comms arrays and fire control nets. Sienna's eyes flicked between feeds, multitasking the final intel mosaic. Drone overwatch, SIGINT intercepts, even grainy civilian evac patterns pieced from smuggled Laveri archives. Her team had pulled 36 hours straight, no rotations, just stim packs and black coffee, connecting dots the Karzik AI overseers never saw coming. Pattern recognition, she'd called it once to Mara. Now it was the noose. Bombardment authorized, she said, thumbing the release. Precision lances from the fleet's railgun streaked in, carving orbital habitats without breaching the ring's core. Capitulation signals sputtered from the few surviving relays. Surrender flares, not suicide bursts. But Sienna's gut twisted at the intercepted order, flashing urgent. SOAR's last play, an extermination cascade on fringe colonies. Faster victory meant glassing the ring now, but civilians first. Always. Divert Alpha Wing to intercept those killsat activations, she ordered. Priority override. Save the non-coms. Her ops officer, a wiry ensign from Jiro's old regiment, nodded without question, fingers flying across dual consoles. Humans juggled chaos like it was routine. The Cathari liaison at her elbow, a young major with Mayra's sigil, stared wide-crested, mandibles clicking in disbelief. You delay the kill shot? For data ghosts? For lives, Sienna replied, not looking up. Ours win wars clean. The major fell silent, antennae twitching as the intercept confirmed. Sat slagged mid-burn. Ring sectors lit green. Capitulated. Lieutenant Jiro Tanaka crouched in the shadow of a shattered bulkhead. His platoon, down to 20 from 40, flanked the main surrender corridor. Dust-choked air reeked of ozone and promethium, the cost of their push etched in fresh bandages and empty bunks. Hold fire unless fired upon, he growled into the squad net. We're processing prisoners, not avenging ghosts. Karzik troopers stumbled out in ragged columns, claws raised, optics dimmed by exhaustion. Jiro's Marines herded them with mag rifles low, setting up biometric scanners and neural links for quick ID and restraint. One Karzik sergeant snarled, lunging half-hearted. Jiro's boot pinned its neck plate before the shot. Discipline, he reminded his corporal, who lowered her weapon with a nod. They'd lost friends to SAR's massacres. Sienna's feeds showed the colony graves, but revenge was the enemy's game. A Cathari observer drone hummed overhead, relaying to Mara's flagship. Jiro caught its scan, waved it through. His platoon multitasked seamlessly. One fire team on security, another rigging field, med stations for wounded Karziks, third running surrender logs, no fatigue cracks, just grim focus after days without sleep. The drone's pilot voice crackled through. Humans, you process 800 per cycle? Our protocols take double. Practice, Jiro grunted, hauling a limping POW to the line. And we don't leave our dead uncounted. The voice hummed approval, a shift from the early war's sneers. High Marshal Varkun Sor slammed his talon on the command dais, the ring's core shuddering under failing power. Screens showed the human blockade, a perfect geometric snare, cyber-blinded bombardments carving his defenses like a surgeon's knife. Activate the cascade, he roared to his staff. All fringe worlds, glass them, break the humans' mercy myth. His officers exchanged crests, Karzik purples flickering to wary grays, surrender broadcasts looped from human vectors, Myra's voice promising tribunals, not purges, human terms of demilitarization, not enslavement. One captain, crest low, stepped forward. High Marshal, the proofs, the colony vids, they show our orders. And their restraint. Traitors, Soar lunged, but mag cuffs snapped from hidden emitters. Human tech, smuggled by defectors weeks prior. The captain's voice steadied. We've seen their endurance, their adaptability. No rage, just force. Tribunals offer life. Your self-destruct ends us all. Soar thrashed as the Corps' failsafes locked down, officers dragging him to the processing pens. Outside, human shuttles ferried the first waves under Jiro's watch. The galaxy's feeds captured it. Karzik High Command, humbled not by fury but precision. Princess Mayara Vale stepped onto the ring's primary dock under human escort, Sienna at her side, Jiro's platoon forming the honor cordon. Her crest stood high, unbowed by exile scars, the weight of legitimacy no longer a ghost. Karzik delegates waited in a hollowed chamber, crests dipped, survivors, not rulers. I speak for the coalition, Myra began, hollow terms projecting. Demilitarization of core fleets, reparations funneled to colony rebuilds, war crimes trials under neutral Livari oversight, autonomy locked for non-combatant worlds, no vengeance cycle, lawful conduct as my court once forgot. A delegate's mandibles parted. Human protection. After our acts, Sienna nodded beside her. We enforce peace. You keep your worlds, learn from it. Murmurs rippled, respect edging out defeat. Myra felt Sienna's quiet hand on her arm, a pack-bond gesture crossing crests and skin. Jiro's Marines stood sentinel, rifles slung, eyes watchful but calm. The signing stylus passed, terms locked. Talon Ro's claws trembled over his Archivist console in the neutral observer pod orbiting the ring. Data floods poured in, atrocity logs from the colonies, campaign telemetry of human strikes, cyber elegance blockade math no Liverissime had matched, and now, the mercy feeds, surrender without slaughter, tribunals prepped. He compiled the record, fingers blurring across interfaces, human adaptability rubbing off even here. Early dispatches had dismissed humans as trade softskins. Now cross-referenced evals showed their truths. Endurance through sieges, creativity in blockades, resilience turning atrocity to unity. No arrogance, just work. Publish, Talon keyed, broadcasting to galactic nets. Vids rolled, mass graves, then fleet precision. Revenge bait rejected for disciplined end. Mara's terms sealed it. Alien analysts would pore over it. Cathari rethinking purges, Levery archiving human normals as strategic baselines. Sienna watched the final signatures from the dock, Jiro's platoon stacking arms beside exhausted POWs. No cheers echoed, just quiet relief, medevacs humming to wounded. Myra's crest brushed her shoulder, a silent thanks. The war's toll scarred them all. Empty bunks, colony ghosts, fractured trusts, but in the enforced peace, humans stood humble. Aliens nodded respect. Talon's record hit the cores. Humans sought peace, enforced it with sleeping giant strength, never wake it. The galaxy leaned closer, changed,